Alright, so now that we have the snow falling at a decent rate, I'd kind of like, I wish I could bring the whole scene forward some, but I have my hill back here. Anyway, I'm just going to leave it. Alright, so select my particles, and now I want to, we were last in dynamic properties where we changed the weight where it would fall slower. If we increase the drag, it would also slow the particles down, but a little goes a long way. Like at most I would change that to 0.02. Dampening can have a similar effect. Force field generation, probably going to leave that alone. Like I said, there's a lot here. Wind field generation, liquid simulation. Alright, output mesh, we do want to look at the emission attributes. That's kind of similar to the emitter attributes, but it can give you a max count. This is for optimization reasons, like you don't want 5 million particles in your scene. It can say, hey, once you reach 10,000 particles, particles need to start dying. So, but if you control that from the emitter like we did before, this isn't as important here. Shading is important. This is what I have not talked about yet in depth is rendering. When you use the clapper to create a render, you're able to see things in that renderer, and there are different algorithms, different processes that are used to create what is being seen. You have a Maya hardware renderer, you have a Maya vector renderer, you have a Maya software renderer. You may or may not see a mental ray, and they all have different capabilities, and we'll learn some of those as we go. But for now, we're going to stick with Maya software, and that means to be able to see our particles, we have to choose something in the list that has the S/W software, which gives us blobby surfaces or clouds. And blobby surfaces creates the ping pong ball looking things, but I'd like to change this to cloud, and it gives us a little softer look, and I'd like to go with that instead. And they're still visible in the software renderer. We can change the opacity where we're making them. We can make them really light. But what I would like to do is make. We can use this to also change the opacity, so we can say everything's kind of not opaque, or I can say, hey, as it gets older, we want to get more opaque, or we want to get less opaque as it gets older. We start off at 1 and we want it to get less and less opaque as it ages. You can have some interesting effects, and then we get down to color, and you notice red to blue, and notice these are red and blue, and it creates everything in between. I think I'd like to make this ramp with kind of a white to really light blue, not very blue at all, just kind of very subtle. It could even be a grayish blue, it doesn't have to be right. But so it's picking colors for our snowflakes anywhere in between here and here, and we can see how that looks. And I still think it's a little too much blue, but you can see some are gray and some are very transparent, some are more visible. Oh, I thought I made a lighter blue. I must have changed back. So let's go. I didn't hit done, and now so it's starting to look kind of snowy in my mind. And that may be too much snow. I don't know. If so, we could go to the emitter. Instead of 50, we could say, hey, you do 25 a second, and see what that looks like. but I think that's looking good. Most of the snow is falling behind him. I'd like to move this. If I can grab it, maybe up, and let's see what that looks like. Yeah. So that's how we do snow. Some are still just appearing about halfway down. I would probably need to change my min or my max level down some on my emitter, and to compensate, maybe just change the speed. So change this to 15 and maybe 3, and maybe my speed down to up, so it's still broadcast. And it also depends on where is my camera going to be. If the camera is going to be here, that's fine. But if you have a ton of snow here and none over here, we want to kind of even this out. So let's take a minute, and maybe we do want this wider, 25. Alright, that looks, I still feel like we're missing some over here. But anyway, you see what it's like, though. It's a lot of back and forth. You test it, and that's how particles are. Now I'm going to see what 75 looks like. And I think that's looking okay, but I think he's just not over far enough. Now let's but that's how you would make snow. I'm not going to get into the rendering of the snow yet. That's our next tutorial, and I probably won't get to it this week. I might get to it in the middle of next week, but I'm going to end here. But that's how you would create snow. We've talked about the opacity, and notice when they're created, they're very bright, and as they get older, they kind of fade. We could even have it where they fade to nothing. They just kind of disappear as they fall, which is you go back down to on the particle, on the opacity section, to say, hey, with time you disappear altogether. And we could say you're really opaque in the beginning, and it just kind of dissolve into nothing, which is it's all preference. And you can have them, and you can say how you can base that opacity based on age or speed, radius, which are all the same radius, which you wouldn't, but ages make sense for this. But one last thing, you guys get tired of hearing that? How many times do I say one last thing and I give you more things? No, but this is really going to make it look more like snow. Right now, everything's falling straight down. Gravity's carrying it straight down. It would be nice to put in a slight bit of variation of turbulence, like the wind's blowing, or flakes don't fall straight to the ground. And in Maya, you have things called fields. So if I select my particle, and I can add a turbulence field, and there is an option box. I'm not going to select it. I'm just going to change the turbulence here. Once you create it, it's going to automatically pop up. If it doesn't, you can see it in your outliner, the turbulence field, and it's usually already affecting a specific particle, whatever you had selected. So I'm going to go, and the magnitude is what's going to change. And right now they're still falling relatively straight down. But if I change this to, let's say, 50 and take a render, I still don't see much difference. So maybe take this, if it'll stop. I'm hit trying to hit escape. Let's take this to 300. And now you're starting to see them in a more randomized. The turbulence is affecting them, and they're starting to move and such. This is a lot like the bump mapping as we did earlier. It's a lot of tweaking. Like for me, I don't like these snowmen to see the snow just popping into, you see it popping in. I don't mind it popping out or going out of view, but I don't like it popping into view. So I could raise the emitter and give it a longer lifespan, or there's different things I could do. But I'm going to let you play with your snow and your scene, and I will do one still render if I can. I'm going to untemplate it, and everything should render, and the snow is rendering. And I'm not going to get into how you would render out an image sequence, but I will in the next. But that's where we're at. You're seeing the snow, and you're seeing your snowman. I need to apply textures, everything. And in the next few tutorials, we're going to get into lighting and rendering, and we should have something really cool by the end of right before spring break. That's our goal, and I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial with particles, and also in setting up your snow globe scene. And that's it for today, and I will try soon to start putting up the videos concerning rendering. And until then, I hope you have a good time with this, and let me know if you have any questions.